Freedom to me is definitely following my passion. It's about doing what you love. It's about that passion. It's finding, what drives you from, your heart. And I think I've found that success. I really have. I'm Tom Jackobs, and I own Body 3 Fitness Center in Houston, Texas. I started working for Amoco Chemicals in Chicago and found a job here in Houston, moved on down. I was only going to be here for 3 years, trying to see what it's like to live in a different city. And in that process, I'd gained, I don't know, about 40, 50 pounds just sitting around, typing at a desk, eating bad food. So I had seen a doctor, and he said that I have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and that I needed to make a change in my life, or else I wouldn't be around for much longer. I went through a program. It was a life changer for me. The Body for Life program, in 12 weeks I lost 40 pounds of fat, gained 10 pounds of muscle, totally changed my life forever. And people would start to ask, what are you eating? What are you doing? What's your workout look like? And I started helping friends out. And they started losing weight, and I really enjoyed helping those folks. After a while, I just decided to leave corporate America and that very nice lifestyle to change my life and change other people's lives and open up a fitness business. I wanted to try something different that was kind of outside of my comfort zone, that would involve fitness in some way and really be kind of that pivotal point. And so I decided to do a bodybuilding competition. And that whole experience really solidified in my mind what setting a goal, having laser focus, determination, passion, and just rock solid determination, what that will do for somebody. I talked to Shannon Ross, and I was like, what should I do? And she was kind of a mentor for me, and she was a mentor to me, and she agreed to be my trainer. So I said, July, there's going to be a bodybuilding show in Houston. I'm going to do that. So I go the night before, I get weighed in, I'm lightweight, I'm novice, I'm looking good. I look at the other competition because you kind of check everybody else out. I think I'm pretty good. My legs were a little weak, but I thought overall I looked pretty good. I came in the morning and they said, okay, novice, you're going to be last, you're going to be on the stage last. And I'm like, okay, cool, so I can kind of chill out and do some final prep. So I go out to the car and I do some final prep and just kind of get my mind where it needed to go. And I go back into the stadium. I go in there and I look up on stage and I'm like, God, those guys look really familiar. And my heart started to sink a little bit because they really look familiar. And I go backstage and I'm like, who's on stage? Who's on stage right now? And they go, novice lightweight, you're 57, you should be on stage. You're disqualified, you're out, you're done. And I looked at the guys, no, there's 7 months of dieting and working out down the drain. I'm going back there in my mind, I'm like, it ripped me to shreds. It was like the worst experience in my life. And I go out, and my parents hadn't arrived yet at the stadium. And when they came in, I just hugged my dad, and I was like, I'm sorry, Dad, I failed you. And he's like, no, you didn't fail, son. Pick up the pieces and move on. And so I went to Starbucks and I got a caramel macchiato. And that was kind of my cheer up. And I kind of wallowed in my grief for a couple hours. And the family was like, put on the show here. And so as embarrassing as it is to put on, show trunks and flex for your family, I did that. And then I called Shannon, I was like, when's the next show? And she said, well, I think there's one in October. I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's start back up. And I did. And so now 10 months later, I go to the show, I know I'm gonna stick around this time. Go up on stage, I just nail it, and won first place. Leela Brada brought out the trophy to me. And that was the best experience of my life. Going from the very worst experience that you can think of not even being able to, compete and doing all that work and being disqualified to then winning first place. That was awesome. That was, in my mind, that I knew then if I set my mind to something and I had focus, that I'd be able to achieve it no matter what. So the first year, I didn't own a facility. So I quit in January of 3 years ago. And I didn't actually buy the facility for about 3 months after that. So the first, as an independent trainer, my plate was full. I was actually doing really well. I had a couple people going through a boot camp as well for brides to be. And it wasn't too bad. But then, I knew I needed to do more. I had that itch. I have that entrepreneurial itch. I've always had it. I had an opportunity from the gentleman that I was renting space from to actually buy the facility from him. So I bought it, dumped out my 401k and bought it. I expanded it, I built it out, and the cash was gone. And I was like, oh, now what do I do? And I saw what Shannon Ross was doing. And so I was like, God, who's she working with? I knew she was working with somebody. And so I call her up and I said, who are you working with? And she said, Sean Greeley over at NPE. They're doing some really great stuff there. And so, I got on the website, started getting the marketing materials. I joined Gold, and I think a month later, I bought every single piece of marketing materials that you guys had. But I started with Auto Closer, which I never really liked sales. Actually, one of my jobs was selling software, and I just was never really good at it. And Auto Closer took me through a step-by-step process, and it was a passion of mine anyway, so it was a super easy sale. The second person that I sat down, we sold 100 sessions to. Right off the bat, payment over 3 months, and she's still training with us to this day. At that point, and that was 4 months into the owning of the facility, at that point I knew that this was going to be big, and that I didn't have to worry too much. It's just been, a gradual. Well, I shouldn't say gradual. I mean, it was like a skyrocket. It took off in the first 3 months after getting all of the programs. So Auto Closer, Duplicator, Deep Core were the first 3 that I implemented. I saw from the first 6 months to the second 6 months, probably about a 10-fold increase in my business. So all of a sudden, I was having to hire 2 new trainers. After that, it just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. And that first year, I think it was 400% increase year over year in that first year. And now, this year versus last year, I'm up 30% on my gross, and that's incredible. All through my career, I thought I was the only one that could do things. I couldn't ask for help. I had to do it. I had to rely on myself. I'm a pretty smart guy, but there's people that are smarter than me out there, or they're better at doing things than I am. And using those resources to help propel you was absolutely pivotal. Hiring NPE to be there to provide systems, speed, all the processes, so that I'm able to create speed and implement faster and be better at what I do naturally. Absolutely, it's essential. You're not alone.